Welcome in. We are here with Lucy from Greer's. We promised you that she would be here working on these key lime squares. Lucy, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you.
Top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning. It's not exactly the top of the morning. I was a little late today.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry, everybody.
Hey, you are here, and that's all that counts.
So today we are working on our key lime squares, and good thing is we can do this in 2 segments because it's so easy. So I have the crust kind of going first. So I'm using these graham cracker crumbs that already come you know, whizzed up and cracked up.
Already crumbled up.
Because I was like, oh, I'll just grab some graham crackers and put them in the food processor. Didn't have to do that. They're already done.
How
So
about that?
it's 1.5 cups of those, and then I'm going to add 1/4 cup of sugar here, and then I just have it's a whole stick actually, but I just need 6 tablespoons, so that's probably about what this is. And this is an 8 by 8 baking dish, and we're just going to mix this up and bake off our crust first. So I have the oven on at 350. And I'm just going to mix this up, and I sprayed our pan here because we certainly don't want it to stick. And if you spray it really good, just with spray, or of course you can butter the dish, it's not going to stick. These cut out so easily. So we're just going to mix this up, and then I'm going to pat it down into this dish and just pop it in the oven for 10 minutes, and then we'll let this crust cool down before our filling.
So I preview our show on Facebook Live prior to when the show starts, and Chelsea and I were debating key lime because some recipes are like way too strong. Some are just the right amount. I feel like key lime's the thing you kind of got to get like the mixture of the lime ratio to the rest of it.
That is so true, and I feel like key lime is also one of those things people like it, or it's like a no-go.
I love it.
Do you? And and Allison, when I sent her the recipe back there, she, the producer, likes key lime too, so she'll have to come get one. But what I'm going to do also is we're going to put in some white chocolate chips into our bars too, and it's going to kind of add, it's going to cut that key lime just like a slight bit. I mean, of course, we're still going to have that key lime flavor, but adding those is just kind of something to take the edge off of it.
So do they stay in chocolate chip form, or do they kind of melt into the mixture?
They melt just a little bit, and like right here in this one, you know, I can see a couple of them, but they are kind of, they are melted. So some of them will keep form because once we put this filling on here, it's only going to bake for about 15 minutes, so it doesn't have time to completely melt those white chocolate chips, but just a little bit.
All right, sounds
good.
good.
I'm going to pop this in the oven on the break. This part goes for 10 minutes.
10 minutes. We'll come back. We'll do round 2 of our key lime squares. It is the perfect summer spring treat. Refreshing, delicious, sweet, all good stuff. Lucy, thanks a lot. We'll check back with you in a second.
Okay.
Happy Wednesday. We are back with Lucy live in our Studio 10 kitchen. Lucy, it's good to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I am excited about today's recipe. What you making?
We are making key lime squares. So I am a big fan of lemon squares, and my mom used to make them when we were little, and of course she did, you know, the classic shortbread crust and lemon filling, of course, and powdered sugar on top, which I love those. Actually, we sell lemon squares down at our store on St. Louis Street. Oh my gosh, they're so good. They're really nice and big.
I have to try those.
So today I thought, oh, let me do key lime. You know, we're kind of into spring, and everybody, you know, kind of likes to eat key lime. If you're going to eat it, you know, more towards the spring. And today we got started on our squares with a graham cracker crust.
Yeah.
So like the pie, of course. And we started with that, and it's in the oven now. So I just bought these graham cracker crumbs, melted some butter, and added a little bit of sugar. We have an 8 by 8 baking dish, so I just patted it down in there, and we're baking that for 10 minutes. And then we're going to let that cool down before we add the filling to it.
Yeah, so now you're making the filling. You've been cracking some eggs.
Yes, I did. I cracked 3 eggs, and I separated the yolks and the whites, and I just am going to use the yolks. So this is 3 egg yolks, and I just put the whites over there. And then I am adding, I just bought the key lime juice that is already in the on the grocery aisle.
Yeah.
And of course, sometimes you can find key limes, and sometimes people are growing them in their yard. So of course you could do fresh key lime juice if you had it, and that was just half a cup. And we are also going to add, this is so simple.
That's
you see
the
how simple
good
it is?
stuff.
I know, I've been using this a lot lately.
I know, Lucy, if you missed it the past 2 weeks, she made a chocolate pie and a lemon meringue pie.
Yes.
So we're on a sweet
We
train right
are
now.
on a sweet train. And I thought the same thing when I was like, oh, I just did lemon pie. Oh, well. So this
No
is
one's
1
complaining.
can of sweetened condensed milk. Yeah, nobody, especially. I made supper last night, which I thought was a good supper.
Yeah.
Grilled chicken, Spiro did, was delicious. And I did sweet potatoes, roasted, and grapes for the kids.
Yeah.
Well, nobody wanted the sweet potatoes, blah, blah, blah. And then I was making this. Like, what's that? They're like scared of new stuff, yet, anything, they see the sugar come out of the pantry and it's like, they know they want that. So anyway, I'm just going to whisk this together and then we're going to add it a little bit later and bake it off. But I was telling Joe, our last ingredient that we're going to add to the filling after I get this mixed up is some white chocolate chips. Oh, do you like them?
Lucy. Okay.
Is it too crusty?
No.
I thought it was too. I said
No.
to Spiro, I'm like, oh no, there's too much crust. He said no.
I was about to say that's what I really enjoy about this.
Oh.
With any kind of pie, I always just do a store-bought crust. But this is different.
It's
You guys,
really crusty.
That's a good one. I like the crusty key lime squares. I think you will too. When we come back with Joe, what are we doing next?
Okay, I'm gonna get that out of the oven and
Yeah.
it's gonna be cooled off. So we're gonna add these chocolate chips and get this filling poured on so you can see it.
Joe, this one's a good one.
Welcome back in the kitchen with Lucy from Greer's. We're making a dish that she questioned whether or not it was too crusty. People have
did.
also mentioned that about my personality. Are you too crusty? Just kidding. Anyway,
Maybe that should be an option on McDonald's app.
for your
Too
personality
crusty.
quiz, too crusty.
In relation to the chicken nugget discussion we had earlier.
You know what's the perfect dessert after chicken nuggets is key lime squares.
Crusty key lime squares.
Yeah.
Yes, we are working on our super easy dessert today. And speaking of the crust, that's what we did first. And we made a graham cracker crust, which was just 3 ingredients. We took 1.5 cups of the graham cracker crumbs, and we had 6 tablespoons of melted butter and a 1/4 cup of sugar. We mixed that together, patted it in this 8x8 dish, and I baked this for 10 minutes and then let it cool down. And then we made our filling, which was 1/2 cup of the key lime juice and 3 egg yolks and 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. And you just want to make sure that it's whisked really well together. So that's just going to take a couple of minutes. And now we are going to add in a 1/4 cup of white chocolate chips.
And we were discussing earlier, they maintain their shape somewhat, but they also kind of melt into it, which I think is really cool. It adds a little different flavor element to your key lime.
Yeah, and Chelsea liked that part. She grabbed one of those up earlier, and she liked it. She liked the amount of crust, and she liked the white chocolate chips in there. So yeah, just kind of something different. And this is a great, great, great make-ahead recipe. Whether you're doing a baby shower or some kind of shower, or just taking them somewhere, because you can make it several days in advance. And like when I was making the pies the last week, whenever that was, it's best if you can get them into the refrigerator, because they're going to cut better and cut into perfect squares. And so it's really good to get out of the way and make it ahead of time.
Which I should have thought of, but I didn't. We made Chelsea's pie, or I mean Lucy's pie for, what was it, Easter?
Yeah, Easter.
Yeah, my mother-in-law was like, I said, what can I bring for Easter? And she said, well, I saw that pie you were making with Lucy Greer. So my daughter and I worked together. We made it. We made kind of she wanted to add Nutella to it.
Oh!
So we threw some
Mia
Nutella
did, or Mary did?
Mia did.
Mia did. That's
Yeah.
Joe's daughter.
Yeah, so we added some
only
Nutella
8.
in there.
What a great idea.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So that recipe you can find online. This recipe you can find online. Anything else we need to do with this? We good?
So we are going to pop this back in the oven at 350 for 15 to 20 minutes until the filling is set. And at that point, you want to cool it down completely. And like I said, if you can pop it in the refrigerator at least a couple hours until it's super firm, then it's going to cut perfectly for you.
Yeah, and you can see the finished squares right here. We used to have more squares, but Chelsea ate the squares. Lucy, thanks so much for coming by. This looks fantastic.
Thank you.